Welcome to our Working for Yourself, Turning Your Passion into Profits workshop series. Today is the third of our workshops, and it's about getting out there, building your client base, which at the end of the day is something that a lot of us don't think highly of, maybe very nervous about, but something that's absolutely essential. So we could go, thanks. We have two other workshops coming up in the series, and we are flipping back to Tuesday next week because we don't have to worry about competing with Valentine's Day. So next Tuesday, we're going to be talking about going legit, understanding legal jargon. And as a freelancer, as a solopreneur, as a consultant, you have to think about what type of organization should you form, because there's lots of different financial risk, cost considerations. Should you be a sole proprietor? Should you be a partnership? Should you be a C Corp? Should you be an S Corp? So we will have a very experienced two lawyers talking about that, talking about proposals and how proposals have legal standing as contracts, and as a result, why you need to be very, very careful in building your proposals. And the third topic we'll cover is IP. A lot of times when we work with consultants, creative people, music folk, artists, photographers, writers, the question is, what is my intellectual property and can I protect it and how? So we'll also be covering that. Then our final workshop will be, once you're going and you're growing, how do you operate smoothly? How do you manage your time when it probably takes you 100% of your day to manage your current clients, and you need to look for clients another 100% of your day? And then you may want some time for yourself, your family, whatever. And then we'll also talk about managing your money, which in alumni panels we have, alumni always come back and say the one thing they wish they had learned more about during school is how to manage their personal and business finances. And one of our speakers is putting her hands up in agreement there. So if you scan that QR code, you can register for these next two very exciting workshops. Okay, great. And with that, we'd like to thank all of our partners. We are the Innovation and Entrepreneurship Institute. We serve everyone who is any type of student, staff member, faculty, or alum, and we will help you develop your creativity, develop and launch your ideas, or if you're in an organization, help you to be even more impactful than you are now. Also with us is a Small Business Development Center affiliated with Temple University, our University Career Center, the Tyler School of Art and Architecture, our College of Engineering, College of Liberal Arts, the Fox Business School, of which IEI is a part, and Klein College of Media and Communication. So it's a very collaborative effort across the university, and we will be adding partners as we continue on next year. So with that, I am going to introduce our panel very briefly because they'll talk about themselves. So our moderator and panelist, she has to wear two hats today, is Heather. And Heather, you told me how to pronounce your last name about 2 seconds ago.
Heather Qader. Welcome back.
Qader. Just like welcome back, Qader. Now I remember. Okay. And she got her MBA from Fox in 2016. She is the founder and managing partner and chief growth agent of the Qader Group. See, I got it right there.
Yep.
Next, we have Courtney Spencer, who's Tyler 15. She's Chief Executive Officer of Dear Fellow, a design studio, and she's also an adjunct at Tyler. So she has lots of great insights for you. And last, depending on, is Kaylin or Kalan Wilson, depending on whether we want a jovial kid-like answer from her or a more serious adult-like answer. And this is what she told us, so I'm not making this up. She is founder and CEO of 69 and Sunny, and she's also manager of marketing and communications at the Ben Franklin Technology Partners, which is a major part of the Philadelphia entrepreneurial ecosystem and has great training programs, does a lot of funding. And in fact, a lot of the people on the board at Ben Franklin have been very active in our innovative idea competition, our Changemaker Challenge social impact program, and our BYOBB. So with that, I am going to go away and hand it over to Heather. The way we're going to work this is we're going to probably spend till about 6 o'clock hearing from the panelists. And then we will put all the audience in breakout rooms. We'll probably go into 2 or 3 breakout rooms. And we will put one of the panelists in each room so you could get some personalized interaction and have your questions answered in a more intimate way, in a professional sense. Okay, Heather, all yours.
Thank you, Alan. So the first question is not really a question, it's a statement. Take 90 seconds, just let us know a little deeper into what you guys do. Let us know what you do. And I'll go after you girls, Callan and Courtney. Colin. Hey.
Ooh. Ooh. Courtney, you want to start us off or do you want me to start?
Go ahead, all you.
Cool. So happy Love Month, everybody. I'm happy to be here. I'm surprised I'm here actually through like the pandemic and years of life. And I don't know what brought you here to like this evening right now, but it's important that you're here. So I'm glad that you're here. I would say currently, I know Alan kind of kicked me off and started all these great things, but I learned how to get into this role of being I call myself an executive officer. I dropped off the chief for my own reasons, but I've learned how to be an EO of my own company, and then also how to just be myself first and foremost, how to connect with clients, but then also how to work a full-time job and how to be a music professional. And I make music with my college sweetheart. So I get to wear so many different hats and I get to be here. So any questions that involve money and art and mixing your time and life together, that's what I'm here for.
How long has your business been?
My business started in 2018, but it started as an educational platform. And then it shifted after I got a cease and desist for calling it something else, which all fun stories, but it learned to pivot. I pivoted with all different business moves. So yeah.
Nice. It's funny, you went straight to the heart there with talking about being a creative, but also a business owner and being authentic to who you are. I feel like that's quite literally one of the biggest reasons why I started Dear Fellow, our design studio. So to answer your question quickly, I am the founder and creative director and owner of Dear Fellow, which is a design studio based in Philadelphia. I've been teaching at Temple for about 7 years now, so a lot of our employees are fellow Temple and Tyler alum. There's 5 of us now, which is exciting because we started about a year ago.
Wow.
Which is very cool, yeah. We work with a lot of very cool clients like Peloton. So if you guys are on the Peloton app or bike, we design a lot of the creative that goes on the app. If you've ever checked out their apparel or their clothing, we do all of the marketing for them. We also work with a range of startups, ranging from a few startups you haven't heard about because they haven't launched yet, to a few who've been up and running for about 3 years and just went on the Shark Tank and got funding. So we have a really fun mix of clients, and we we do everything in the customer experience. So our take is that the customer doesn't know like the difference between branding and a website. So why should you hire different agencies for it? So we do everything from branding to marketing creative to app design to web design. And we pull in creative partners like copywriters or developers so we can really stay true to what we do, which is design. Yeah, that's Dear Fellow.
Yay. I'll introduce myself. My name is Heather Qader. My company is the Qader Group. We are a boutique marketing firm. Actually, no, we're not marketing. We started off as a social media management firm. We still have that leg of business. That actually came because we started in 2020. And being online was a necessity for a lot of businesses. And we kind of just got pulled into branding, social media, all that stuff. Realizing that I am creative in my own way, but I'm creative when it comes to spreadsheets and operational management. And I realized that was the sweet spot of running social media management for me, because it takes a lot of organization and pulling pieces together and making it work. So we decided to still keep social media management because it's a good chunk of our business, but move into operations management, where we felt we could push founders to elevate their companies and, just get customer fulfillment looking right. And if they need branding consultation, we'll give them the basics. How do people get in touch with you? We ask the questions where sometimes it's too close for the founders to decide or to figure out for themselves. And yeah, having a good time doing that. It's intense work because, a lot of people, we don't know what we don't know. And a lot of our projects are customized. And so, yeah, I'm having a great time doing that. Next question is, can you describe your journey, what you studied in college, what you intended to do at that time, and what has led you to your freelancing career? It's a very compounded question. Give it to me. Please.
I guess I can start again. But I just wanted to pause for a second on all of our businesses that we just talked about. Sounds so helpful to creatives, and it's really cool that we're doing this, and congratulations to all of our businesses. As far as the journey goes, I feel like every year has been different. I graduated from Tyler in 2014, and that's how I gratefully get to know Courtney. I love seeing your face. I love being at Tyler around you all the time. And I feel like the grit that came from Temple is just unlike anything else I've seen around. People don't work the same way we do. And we are relentless with education. We'll work really hard and do it, and then we'll teach you how to do it. And then we'll go back and do something else. So it's really cool to know that journey of going from school into different agencies and companies, trying to find my fit. I was a graphic designer. When I started school, I was a visual painter. So I was painting landscapes when I started school. And I realized very quickly that me painting my neighbor's house wasn't going to pay my bills. So I figured out graphic design, and then went through years of all of these different experience design, creating interactive installments for NASA and showing different museums how to take their content and turn them into touchscreen walls. And I did a lot of stuff for the Independence Mall, where you can come, and when you visit Philly, you can see all the different events that are in the area. I had a ball learning all of these things. And then I was able to take all this information. I also quit jobs very often after I realized that it was enough time. I learned my place. I left. So I went to the next job and the next job, and I learned every different facet, learned all different types of management and structure. And then at a certain point, I was like, it's time for my own company. Started doing freelance, started doing my own company, started creating an education company. And all of that led me to this moment, which I realized I was so tired of working. I was so tired of working and needing to figure out how I had to continuously make money as a freelancer. And I realized I want to just make royalties. When checks started coming in for our music, for something that I'm passionate about, and I saw that our songs were selling, even at 0.0001 cent for every time somebody listens to our music, we get money. So now I get to relax a little bit, and I want to teach how other you know, you can take your property, like Alan said, one of your classes coming up or one of the workshops is your IP, how you can take your music, your writings, your things and put money on it, and then just let that work for you so you can decide how you create your days. So I am on my learning journey of money. And I feel like as an artist, it's like one of the most important things that you can learn. And I'm telling you, as soon as I figure it out, I will make many books and I will make it simple and everybody will learn and it'll be so fun. So that was, I know that was a long answer to that question, but that was a deep question.
Yeah.
Thank you. Your turn, Courtney. Let's hear where you came from.
I love it. I mean, how do I follow that up? So I also graduated from Tyler. I was a year behind Kaylin. Sorry, in school, you were Kaylin to me. So I have
So
back and forth.
yeah, Bryce, my husband, basically, he can't even, he's like, I don't know what to call you.
I'm gonna call you Kaylin because that's my person.
Perfect.
So graduated from Tyler. Coming out of school, I got a role in marketing at a retail company called Lilly Pulitzer and worked with a lot of neon colors and really knew that I wanted to be in app design and web design. And at the time, there just wasn't a role on the team. That role didn't exist yet. So as soon as I graduated, I took UX courses that summer to really gain a skill set in app design. I started a company on the side that was an app that told users how long lines were to get into bars. And we launched at Penn State University.
Oh,
It
I'm
was
a Penn Stater.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it was very fun, but it was interesting. When the app had launched, we had reached 80% of our target demographic in 2 weeks. So it was a very successful app, but we looked at each other and through that experience, I had gained all these new potential clients, like Bumble, Urban Outfitters, Comcast, and my co-founder at the time was able to get a new job himself. Our interns had gotten interviews at Amazon and Tesla because they had this really unique experience. So we all looked at each other. We were like, we're making money in different ways. Let's pivot. So we actually killed the company and we all kind of explored these different paths. My co-founder and I actually started dating and we just got engaged. So that's the most recent update there. Ever since I've really just been contracting for companies. I recently worked at AB InBev's venture capital firm, ZX Venture. So AB InBev is the holding company that owns like Budweiser, Corona, all the big beverages. And I worked at their venture capital firm. So some beverages you might know in that group are like Babe Rosé or Who Garden. And so I worked with about 20 ventures around the world on their design strategy and ranging from startups that were like early stage startup, I was doing their website and branding for them, to high growth stage startups where they had a team of about 50 designers. And it was a really cool experience because I was able to travel a ton. So I was traveling to Brazil, Mexico, Argentina, and the group that I was working with were about 20 founders, but with that, 200 designers around the world that we were able to really curate this network with. So it was fun. In the pandemic, we basically tried to launch a bunch of companies. I got really burnt out, to be very honest. And I kind of looked at what was going on around me and kind of like Kaylin, I was like, okay, I know I want to make money. I know I want to work less, frankly. How do I meet supply and demand? And I started Dear Fellow, which is a design studio. And while it came with a very logical decision, it actually is probably the thing that I'm most deeply passionate about because it's a space where I can really build a company system best for me and my team to be the most authentic versions of ourselves as creatives, but also women who are in business and are trying to make money at the end of the day. So like I said, we started Dear Fellow about a year ago, and yeah, it's been full speed ahead ever since.
Cool. So as a moderator, I don't know, Alan, am I supposed to answer every question with the ladies?
Yes.
Can we keep going? Okay.
Please.
I'm going to keep this short and sweet. My journey, I was international politics at Penn State. I wanted to be an activist, ended up in nonprofits in DC when I graduated, realized that wasn't going to pay the loans, was wondering about business, applied to Temple University, got into Temple University. It was the only school I applied to. I wanted to be here in Philadelphia. And Temple was it for me. Fox School of Business, 2016, MBA in strategic management. Got to travel the world through my program. That was amazing. And now I'm a globetrotter. Never thought to start my own business, started my own business because I realized I was really stressed out for other people's businesses and I could be stressed out for my own. So I used to work 9 to 5. Now I work 24/7. I'm sure you guys heard that before. So that's what's brought me here. We've been in business for 3 years and admittedly, I am still trying to figure out how to sell, right? Because selling is like icky, right? And I just learned recently this term, push and pull marketing. So push is when it's like, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. And then pull is more like getting people seductively interested in your item. But that takes a lot of thought. So I think we're going to get to that a little later on, but there I am. I wish I could sell more. I don't know how we ended that. That was not the question, but here's
Not the answer.
2 ways. It's leading into the next question. There's 2 ways to build your client base: marketing and selling. We covered marketing in last week's workshop. How would you define selling in regards to your products and services?
I think what you just said was really smart, the pushing and pulling.
Mm-hmm.
And that's actually exactly how I feel about it, is when business is slow, we kind of go back, and we haven't had too many moments just yet where we are incredibly slow. So we've been really, really extremely fortunate. That is the thing that keeps me up at night. So in the moments I know we're proactively going to be a bit slow, I'll go out and start marketing ourselves. And a really good example of that is we actually just had a team photo shoot done, and we updated our website and we posted a few things on Instagram, and our Instagram has grown by 100 followers since.
Wow.
So we have 4 new business requests this month by just simply updating our photos. I think that's like a really simple example of marketing. And then for sales, so I'm really fortunate. My dad is a salesman and has always taught me how to have like a very streamlined sales process. And so for me, sales is like a very specific process where you have somebody reach out to you, you have your intake, and then you have a conversation with them, figure out what they need, send them a proposal. And it's really just like this funnel that you put them through, where exactly like you're saying, you pull them through the system and see if it would be a good fit for both of you, send them that estimation that might be good for both of you, and then really start transacting work with them.
Yeah. Wow. It's so cool to hear all of our different inner workings, like I hear different stuff and I'm like, oh, your dad was in sales too. My dad was the VP of marketing for Merck for years and had to work in a very interesting line of selling drugs medically. And I feel like it's a very interesting push and pull in that way. And thinking about things, my dad and I talked about this a lot, like how transactional business is. It's extremely transactional, but what he brought to the table was the relational side. So he got to know everybody personally, all the doctors that he talked to, he knew their families, his CRM, he would show me his CRM because he really cared about the relationships. And when he used to take me to work on some days, he would keep bubbles in his office and he would blow them in different people's offices just to bother them and just have bubbles flying in their office. So he was a very just community person. And I feel like in a lot of ways, selling for me is like just providing something that somebody needs. And it's hard to kind of look at it that way because of all of the ickiness, Heather, as you said, that a lot of different transactional people put on and maybe didn't think about relational, because at the end of the day, we're creating something to help us while we're here. And so the more that we can figure out how to just tell somebody, just make somebody aware that the service is available to them. Of course, there's all the touch points, checking back in, but then it's just reminding somebody that you're the one for the job. You're the one. They're looking for something and you've provided it. And just being that guide and trying to look at yourself as you're not really selling. It's more of like you're offering. This is here to help make your life better. So in all those different ways, how can we do that with marketing? How can we do that with our messaging? How can we do that with our voice? I've been using, because I also pay attention to what people say to me, like, oh, you have a very lovely voice. So I talk to people all the time and I tell them, this is something that you should check out, or I'm working on this, you should try this. And instantly people will just go, they'll just follow because they find that there's something that they need. So the more that you can use the things that you know are comforting to people, but then just out of love, give them that, it's not out of, we don't have to take away from anybody to give them what they need. We have ample things to give. So just scheduling that time for yourselves, and then also just making it easy for somebody to buy something.
Yeah. I saw something on the internet the other day. It says, sell the problem you solve, not the product. And I thought that was a cool way to like approach it. I'm this kind of person. I don't know about you guys. I'm resistant to sales. Most of my sales have been inbound, and every outbound sales strategy that I plan, I always face some kind, no matter how much planning goes into it, I find like there's a barrier to get out there and really, because, we've seen icky sales strategies and it doesn't feel good. And you get the emails from LinkedIn. It's not fun. It's very annoying actually. So, I mean, finding new ways to shape the problem is, I think, not problem. Selling is not a problem, right? I need to get past that part at first. But finding new ways to shape like the challenge of selling is also, I think, key to really getting good at it. And I think I'm a couple years off. I will give me a couple years.
There we go. I like that phrase.
Many people, especially those in creative fields, it seems, consider selling a dirty word an act. Oh, what do you say to people who feel that way? What would you tell me? Because I need it.
Yeah, it's time to change your word. If sell makes you feel uncomfortable, there's plenty of other words for you that you might be able to find. Even just like,
offer. You mentioned offer earlier. I really like that actually. If we can begin to shift that paradigm of like selling versus offering something, because you already have it. It's not like and especially if you're service based, like your offer is always your offer. You're not going to sell out of anything. It'll always be there.
You're a genie. You're a genie and you are making a wish come true. And what that wish might be in the moment could change, because somebody's always going to want something different. And sometimes that might just be the social content that they need, or it might be this travel mug, because I need something to hold my water and keep it cold. It's just amazing that you can be a genie and grant wishes in that moment. So you're not selling anymore. You're just granting somebody's wish. It's on you to find the right person, the right client, the right person that agrees that that's their wish. It's a matchmaking thing. So the person that tells you no is just not your person. It's not your genie person. You just have to match yourself with that person.
I love that. It's like rebranding it.
Yeah. Let's just change it. Let's make it fun.
I like that too. I think I kind of where you're going to is the thing that's really helped me. The thing that makes me feel icky is finding people who aren't a good fit for our team. And the way that we find people who are a good fit are two things. One, within network. So for me, my sales process is not actually going out and talking to too many people. It's just total word of mouth and referrals. That's super, super important. And so I have not gone out of my network yet. I haven't needed to, but I know that I'll get there. And I want to think about how to do that really strategically and thoughtfully, whether that's bringing in a partner to bring in their network, or to really hire a sales team to bring on a very specific company. But I think the other part of that too is really having like defined team values and goals. So like one of our biggest team values is ownership. Ownership is really important to us. I think Kaylin, kind of what you were saying, like coming out of Temple, coming out of Tyler, you just have so much grit, and everybody from that school is a really hard worker, and a lot with all of Temple too, not just Tyler. And so that's a really important value to us and something that we expect to see in our clients. So we will own our mistakes, but we expect our clients to do the same. And that's like a very specific value that we hire not just designers for, but also our partners and clients. I think so values, I think is really important, is like setting your team values. But the last thing to it too is, and this is kind of like a separate thing, way of almost kind of reframing it too. I had this incredible client who started his company probably 10 years ago. And I was like, okay, well, when he first started, he came to me for branding. And I was like, okay, Ryan, like, what happens if like the company fails? Like, what happens if you guys don't do well? And he just looked and he goes, it has to work. Like, failing is not an option. This has to work. And granted, Ryan is like, he's a big personality and he will do whatever it takes to make it work. But at the end of the day, like, we own companies and paychecks are dependent on us, and this has to work. Not going out and getting more sales is not an option. It has to work. So you kind of have to put your big girl pants on and do it. It has to work. But I think with that too, is also thinking about it logically and thinking about the companies that you want to work with, and not just from a values base, but also like, if you want to go and like work with specific types of companies, do you want to work in pharmaceuticals? Do you want to work in retail? And really strategically and logically thinking about it and really try to take the emotion out of it, so it feels less daunting.
I like that. So once you're in front of your clients, right, what do you ask? Yeah, well, actually, how do you prefer to interface with them first? Like, is it a phone call? Is it in person? And then when you're in front of them, like, what happens? Can you take us through like the steps?
Yeah.
I'm curious about yours, Courtney, because especially hearing that you're saying, because a lot of my clients are relational conversation in my network. So I'm wondering, like, what does yours look like?
It's same. It's really a lot of friends and family, and actually not so much family anymore. I actually really tried to set that boundary that I really don't work with family at all.
Nice.
But usually it starts as like a conversation. Yeah. Starts the conversation. Actually, Peloton is a really interesting example. The hiring manager who set us up at Peloton is a previous coworker of mine. We stayed good friends, and I was literally walking into a restaurant. He was walking out of a restaurant in New York. We talked to each other for 2 minutes, and I said, hey, Peloton is a dream company to work at. I'm currently training for a marathon. I'm using Peloton to like the app for my training. If you ever need a designer, don't hesitate to reach out to me. 1 year later, he picked up the phone. He was like, I need a designer. When can you start? And that was quite literally the conversation. So it can range to like that really quick phone call, but like we've had really large contracts too, where it started as a phone call. There was a quick referral. We'll do a Zoom call. And especially with like bigger clients, I will absolutely make the effort to go travel to see them in person. I've done it to New York. We probably go to New York every other week to do those kinds of meetings, but also like I've done it to California and Colorado, just because that investment is absolutely worth it, especially when they're not just paying for my paycheck, but also other employees as well. So yeah, I think I want to make sure I'm answering your question. It's Zoom calls, it's phone calls, it's in person. And I think even going back to what I was saying, it's really massaging out the proposal and making sure that the timeline, the deliverables, the estimation all make sense for employees, but also beyond that too, it's like the rituals and the routines that happen on a day-to-day level with that client and figuring that out.
Yeah, I mean, I echo a lot of that.
Yeah.
And what you were saying, Courtney, actually, when we talked about the sale being an offer up, you offered the guy from Peloton, you basically said your service, and that was a pitch for sale. And just because he didn't say right then and there, yes, it happened later. So kudos to you knowing exactly like how to pitch in a moment and just to be on it. Other things I love to do is I really do love figuring out who that client is that I want, that dream client who I want to work with. I've been writing down random brands and businesses that I love lately. Like Seth Rogen has this brand that I love called Houseplant, and I just wrote them down, and it just so happened that his creative director I was at an event with. And so just by writing down, those things can happen and you don't even
So
realize who's
real.
out of your network.
Yeah.
So, I think it's really important to dream a little bit, to sit back on like who you would actually want your client to be, and then also have fun with them, because the events that you go to, who you say hi to, one of my clients, I went on a retreat with her last year. So there's so many different things that can happen when you decide to say yes and you make it something that you actually want to do. Like, don't do anything that you're pulling your teeth to do, because you don't have to do that. I think, Courtney kind of hit the nail on the head earlier with the family thing, because you start with family and then you just got to cut them off. They might be a moment, but it's a quick learn. And I feel like that with a lot of different clients that I've had. I don't keep a client if they don't make sense and they don't pivot with me and move with me. It's a relational thing. So keep assessing your client base and be willing to let people go, even if they give you tons of money. All money isn't the right money.
Yeah, that gut feeling is real. I think that's actually one of my biggest takeaways from the last year, is that gut feeling is super, super real.
Mm-hmm.
100%. And when that gut's telling you to move away, that's at your peak stress level, right? And so that's the time where you have to stop and reassess. And I mean, it's boundaries, it's developing boundaries in the moment, because we're busy with the, business administration and our clients, and it could be really hard to feel like we deserve a stop. And really in those stopping periods is when we can actually shape, the reason why we started our businesses is so we could shape our world. So we have to continue to give ourselves those pauses so we can assess, where we are and what our boundaries should be.
Yeah.
Love that, ladies. Okay. So this is a cool question. What percentage of your so-called new client calls result in success? And how do you handle negative outcomes? I would say, go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
A second. New client calls. So most of my business is inbound. So about 50%, I would say, they end up I probably get like 4 calls a month. Essentially, like, we're not, out there on the ground calling in sales. But how do I handle negative outcomes? Well, I take those the proposal templates that I create for them, and I just reuse them again. So in the future, the next client, it's not going to be as much of a lift because I've already developed a proposal. I wish there was an easier way, maybe, I don't know, something automated, but yeah, at this point, I just chalk it up as a learning lesson and I just keep doing it. You do it a few hundred times, you become an expert at it. So that's how I feel about that. Are you guys going to answer that one, or we can go to the next one?
It seems like Courtney's trying
to figure it out.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to give you an exact number. Hold on.
I want to say, I'm always trying to find new clients. So that can be really tricky because I'm always trying to go out of my network and not go to the same people. So because of that, I'm just throwing whatever at the wall to see what catches and I also ask a lot of questions too. So I would say it's probably 75-25 because I've figured out how to make a subject line on an email that will just get you to open it. I can get anybody to open my emails, which is a skill that I feel. And I also have a tracker too. So I know who's opening my emails and how much time they're spending and what they click on. So I think that, yeah, it's really important to just try to just see however many times you can get something out there.
I love that.
Yeah. I just did the math. It's about 75%.
Okay.
And it's interesting. I haven't updated like our sales dashboard since last year, and a few of them have just reached back out to us asking to potentially work together. So I think it just wasn't the right time, but also looking at some of these too, some of these companies have actually gone out of business, which is interesting too. So just like they weren't ready. And also a few of these have led to other work. So they recommended us to other clients that are a better fit. So I remember when I first started, I love the sales process. So that's like the thing that gets me really excited when I like at my job. And I used to get really upset every time we didn't get something. But now I like you guys are saying, like, there's things that come out of it, like that every learning is helpful. Every deck improves every single time. And a lot of these relationships just continue to grow, which is cool. So there's always something positive that comes out of it.
Awesome. For audience members who already have a business practice, but want to jumpstart it to the next level, what piece of advice would you ladies give to them?
Kaylin, I want to hear what you think.
I think I would say just be brave. I think we can get really hung up on doing the right thing. And I don't think the right thing is necessary. I think it's just keep learning and keep trying and just challenge yourself to see what you can do, because at the end of the day, I feel like all of this, I know business is one form, but life is another, is just a better way to get to know yourself. And the sooner that you can get to know yourself and then share that with somebody else so that they can learn too, I just think that's the greatest gift we have to give to the earth. So whatever you need to do that makes you feel most comfortable and most like calm within yourself and amplify it, just do it. Be brave to do it so that you can start just wearing colors and stuff, and just be your artist. Just do your best at being your artist self, and just remember that like someday it wouldn't even matter, you know. It's like, just try, just have fun, and everything will just work out.
I like
Best
that.
advice.
Yeah, I love that,
Keep
because
going.
that confidence, right? That you finding that confidence, and I'm going to put in business terms, like that's developing your offering and being able to communicate it to other people. I think that's what my advice would be to jumpstart to the next level, is take the thing that you do and communicate it so other people can understand, so then they can buy it, right? And that's going to give you true confidence, is like having like a really well written out offer, you know, that you can break up into pieces and like push out else, you know, depending on the audience, push it out. But yeah, I would say developing your offering, and that could be a paragraph description of what you do, just so people can understand, because I mean, we have Instagram, but I'm going to just pick on Instagram for a second. Like, we have Instagram pages and we have like these beautiful quotes, but at the end of the day, if you're not describing what your offer is, then who's going to buy what you got, you know? And maybe Instagram's not your market, but you should always be describing exactly what it is that you offer people, so they can know, you know, what it is they can buy from you, or utilize.
Yeah.
Courtney, do you have a?
Yeah, I think I'm so inspired, Kaylin, by how you truly you follow your true north. Like, you have a true north, and you are so curious about it. That was advice somebody had given to me, was like, find your true north and just run after it. So I think that's a big one that we've been talking a lot too. But I think with that too, another piece of advice that somebody gave me was, on your first day, this is actually more for somebody who's starting a business. On your first day, write out your 1 year and 5 year plan. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just having something written down on a piece of paper, so you just can iterate and run with it. And I have that piece of paper written down, and it's really fun to look back to, because I'd say about 75% of the things I wanted to accomplish in 5 years, I've done this year, which is very, very cool. And it's cool to see that written down, you know? So that's really cool. That's definitely like a tangible piece of advice. But also, I think just generally, for somebody to more directly answer your question, somebody who's looking to grow their business, my advice to my clients, and even kind of what we're looking at ourselves, is look at the data from your learnings in the past year or 2 or 3 or 4, figure out what has been working, what hasn't working, and really decide what direction you want to point the business in. And so kind of like what I was saying earlier, like, oh, you know what, like, it hasn't been working really well with the retail clients. We haven't found that our values are working, and it's leading to high churn rate. Like, we're not, we don't have long-term contracts with them, but these healthcare companies, like, they need designers, they need the creativity. It's resulting in higher retainers and longer term projects. Like, we know we need to point our company in this direction. Our goal is going to be increase our business by 500%, and we're going to make these amount of hires to follow it. Even, like, once again, if it's really loosely written down on a piece of paper, that's fine. But like, having that written down on a piece of paper keeps you true to your word and just points the company in a direction. So I would be intentional about where you're pointing it, but also going back to that true north, logical plan, but keeping your heart in it and making sure it's something that you're passionate about still.
I love it.
Well put.
Go ahead. What'd you say?
I was just echoing and saying,
Oh.
Courtney, just great.
Yay. So I think we've come to the end of the questions. Alan, do you want to, or shall I?
Now, can I just, before we go into breakout rooms, I'd like to ask one more question, and everyone sort of hinted about it, but different customers, even if they're in the same segment, pharmaceutical or needing project management or whatever, everyone has different needs, right? Or different desires or different priorities. Can you talk about how when you go after a new client, whether you get introduced or you meet them blindly, how do you talk to them so you understand what it is so you could customize your offerings, even if it's around the fringes?
So I'll start here. I have a work plan template that I work from. It has the action items, responsibilities, and likely, 8 to 12 weeks out of a plan, or of like a calendar. And my first call with them is usually 30 minutes to an hour. And we just go through all of their pain points and I write it down in that action item. And then sometimes the action item column has to be broken out into even more detailed action items, but that first call really gives me a lot of detail on how long the project's going to take, so I can properly plan out. So I always start every call with a templated, like with a spreadsheet, so I can list out all of the needs and then eventually like list responsibilities and set dates for deliverables. Did that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Caitlin or Courtney?
That was my first thing, was like having a clear list, like going into each meeting with a clear list of like things I need to get, like, what is it? Do you have any deadlines? Do you have a budget in mind? The other one I recently learned that I love is, are you considering any other designers and what can I provide you to help you make that decision? That one's been a big one. The other thing I learned just working in a corporate environment is, as a creative and a Pisces, I am very expressive and I talk a lot, and I have learned this framework to quickly identify like people's communication styles and how they want to be communicated, and also identifying my own and how I want to be communicated, and just having patience with different communication styles. So that's another one that I feel like isn't talked about a lot too, is really quickly identifying how people communicate, how they want to be communicated with, so I can not just like prepare that proposal for them, but do in a way that's easy for them to understand.
Yeah, all those examples sound basically what I was going to say as well. It's very intuitive. It's a very intuitive process of being able to meet your client where they are in their moment and actually just understanding what it is that they need, but better articulating and helping them on an individual level understand what they need personally to make the company or feel a part of the company. Because a lot of times, depending on who I'm talking to, they all see their company that they're working for differently. So they all have individual different needs. So I feel like just having that preliminary conversation where you're getting to know the person, but you're understanding their communication style. So you're relaxed and calm and receiving information and being able to just show that you are relational and can understand that. I keep just putting in, I think, one of our values that we try to push forward is being very human and transparent. A lot of times I'll tell somebody, let's just calm down for a second. Let's just get really present for a moment and just figure out what's your biggest issue right now? Like, what do you need help with the most? What press just came out recently that devastated you from the company that you need to speak something different? So I think getting very emotional in that transactional experience is, I feel like I haven't even started tipping into that more. And I want to start creating these just like research groups to be able to have focus groups so that we can better understand what it is that people are asking for. So I hope that helps, but all these things.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take our audience members, and Lindsay, I think we could go with 2 groups. And what I'm gonna do is probably ask Heather and Courtney to take one group, and Kaylin for you to take another group. And that way, I have to break up these creative sisters here. And that way, I think the participants will be able to ask questions and have a really good discussion on a small scale basis.
Cool.
Fabulous.
So I think Lindsay will put everyone in breakout rooms. We'll come back at like 6:20, go over a couple things. We'll have suitable points and all other exciting offers at that time.
Alan, I held the speakers back for just a minute. Is that what you want, or are they?
Yeah, let's do that, please. Okay, so what, everyone should see a room they can click on and go in. And I would ask everyone to put their cameras on in the breakout rooms,
Mm-hmm.
and I will broadcast that also.
Alan, are you? And see, now I'm second guessing every time I go to say your name, because I also, I also just want to say Kaylin, like, you know.
I'm sorry.
It's just, we're gonna get there.
Um,
Ladies,
room?
this, I am in the middle of making a very drastic career transition as well. And this just personally, even sitting, listening to you all talk, and I think I'm older than all of you. This was lovely. So I'm very glad that I was able to be here tonight and listen to you all share your stories, because that was a very fun thing. And Courtney, congratulations.
Thanks.
Yeah, welcome. All right, Alan, you want to go with
No,
Kaylin?
I'm gonna stay out actually at this point.
oh, okay, Alan.
Can I take a picture
You're
really
on
quick?
your-
Yeah.
Yeah, take a picture,
I need to document this. This is a really good one.
please.
Oh my gosh.
Yay.
Well, I'm like a purple people eater. Of course I said purple.
I'm a purple people eater.
I was in my black morning today, so.
Same.
All right, ladies, I'll put y'all in a room now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, I think I just moved Courtney to the wrong room. No, I did it. Okay, I did. All right.
I'm going to room 2. Is that correct?
Yep, yeah.
Hold on. My notification went away.
So Heather, you're also in 2.
All right. I'm going to 2, right?
Yeah, did you see it at the bottom? Okay, all right, perfect. Okay. Let me just pause the recording.
Couple final messages, reminders, and codes.
Wait.
No, it's
Oh.
not on you. You're Heather, you're off for the next 5 minutes.
Oh, thanks.
So first thing I want to do is give a hand to our 3 panelists. Heather Qader, Kaylin, where do you go? Kaylin the artist, or Kaylin your last name?
I'm going to say I don't have a last name right now. Thank you.
Okay, just Kaylin. Okay, you must be a musician or something, like Sting, or Dr. Dre or something like that. All right. I'm sorry here. And also, well, I lost you, Courtney. I couldn't find you. And
I'm
also
here. Courtney
Courtney
Spencer.
Spencer. Yeah, no, I know your name, but I was looking to be sure I wasn't catching you off guard. So thanks to them. I'm sure their insights were great. They were great during the panel, and they are great resources here. So as I mentioned, next week, going legit, understanding the legal jargon, scan that code. Please come, invite friends, relatives, and coworkers. Also, we have another big event competition coming up, the Be Your Own Boss Ball, which is the grandmother and grandfather of all entrepreneurial and innovative programs here at Temple. It's a 25-year anniversary, and it's for ideas that are a little more developed, where you have a team, you're in a position where you could start putting together financial projections for 3 years. There's over $100,000 in cash and service prizes. You have an opportunity for a tremendous amount of feedback from successful entrepreneurs, funders of successful entrepreneurs. And the next session is actually this coming Wednesday, February 15th at 5 o'clock. It's an overview of the entire Be Your Own Boss Ball process and how to get started. And if you have an idea or a business that you think is worthy of mentoring, of consideration for a prize, many of you who attend the first 2 sessions saw Jung Park, whose cocktail culture, she won, I believe, 3rd place in the Be Your Own Boss Ball while she was in school. So I strongly urge you, including our panelists, as long as they haven't made too much money that they're too developed, to enter the Be Your Own Boss Ball. There's an upper track for alumni, faculty, staff, and grad students, and then we have an undergrad track. So scan that code, be sure to try to attend on Wednesday, and keep your eyes out for getting your submission going. Okay, for any of you who are writers and would like a master's in journalism, a 1-year program, and are committed to doing business reporting, there are 2 $20,000 scholarships available through the Klein College of Media and Communication. And if you are interested, contact George Miller at GWM3 at Temple. George is a founding member of the team that puts together plans and puts together and executes these workshops. He's a great guy, and this is a great opportunity if you're interested in journalism and business reporting. Next, we would like to hear from you. We are always working to enhance the programs. The Innovation Entrepreneurship Institute is here to serve all of Temple's constituencies. And the more we hear from you, just as we spoke about during the sales process, the better we could give you exactly what you need and want. So please scan this code and take a couple minutes to fill it out so that we understand your needs and desires and can meet those in an outstanding way. And last but not least, for the undergraduates in the room, scan the code on the left. You can get your suitable points. And for those of you who are graduate students from Fox and can earn Guild program suitable points, please email us at 1810@temple.edu, and we will see that you get the necessary credit. And with that, if anyone has any questions, we'll take them. If not, I'd like to thank our 3 experts again. This time I'll go backwards: Courtney, Kaylin, and Heather. Thank you. We will see you again for sure.